Okay, so Ms. Belvinda Kosron, Chief Executive Officer for Malaysian Palm Oil Council, Mr. Muhammad Salim Kadir, Director of Bursa Malaysia Derivatives Berhad, supporters of today's forum, EMPA, East Malaysian Planters Association, esteemed guests, esteemed speakers, distinguished guests, Datuk, Datin, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning and welcome to the East Malaysia Palm Oil Forum 2024. We are delighted to have you all here at gorgeous Hilton Kota Kinabalu for this important gathering organized by none other than the Malaysian Palm Oil Council, MPOC, and Bursa Malaysia Derivatives. Today we come together to delve deep into the dynamic world of palm oil, a vital industry that plays a significant role in our state and our nation's economy as well as the global market. Throughout the day, we will have insightful workshops, engaging presentations, and valuable networking opportunities that will potentially shape the future of this industry. So before we proceed, let us take a moment to acknowledge the presence of our honorable guests, distinguished speakers, industry leaders, and all the delegates that have joined us from different parts of the region. Your participation is truly appreciated, and we look forward to an enriching and productive forum ahead. Without further ado, let us kick off this East Malaysia Palm Oil Forum 2024 with an opening address by Ms. Belvinda Kosron, Chief Executive Officer for the Malaysian Palm Oil Council. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Belvinda to the stage.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here in Sabah, to see many friends that I haven't met for a long time. Warm welcome to the East Malaysian Palm Oil Forum. On behalf of the Malaysian Palm Oil Council and Bursa Malaysia Derivatives, I extend our heartfelt thanks to all our industry colleagues for joining us here today. This marks the first ever East Malaysia Palm Oil Forum that is jointly organized by MPOC and Bursa Malaysia. We are covering both Sabah and Sarawak. I know that we often do a lot of events back in Kuala Lumpur, but this time we specifically discussed our partner and said, it's about time we come here to Sabah and Sarawak. We all recognize Sabah's crucial role in Malaysia's palm oil industry, with 1.51 million hectares planted with oil palm representing close to 27% of Malaysia's total planted area. It makes more reason for us to make our presence felt here. We are excited to be here and wish to acknowledge Sabah's significant contribution to our national palm oil production and its essential role in reinforcing Malaysia's status as a leading global palm oil producer and exporter. Furthermore, we know Sabah is home to over 31,000 smallholders whose combined efforts span more than 200,000 hectares. Their dedication and hard work are the backbone of the palm oil sector's success. So we deeply appreciate these smallholders whose contributions are vital to the sustainability and growth of the industry in Sabah and beyond. We hope to establish the East Malaysian Palm Oil Forum as a permanent fixture in our calendar. I was just talking to our co-organizer Salim this morning, and I've got the go-ahead for that, so you are going to see us back again next year. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. MPOC has been instrumental in expanding Malaysian palm oil exports worldwide. Our network of 6 offices across 5 regions enables us to promote sustainable palm oil on a global scale. To streamline our operations and focus on key regions, we have reduced our regional offices. I know that we have had people coming up to say, why are you not expanding? But there's always a reason why we have reduced our offices to a number that we think is more manageable and more cost-effective. We have reduced them from 11 that we used to have to only 6, maintaining our presence in major markets like China, India, Egypt, Turkey, South Africa, and Russia, while we have closed our offices in Pakistan, Bangladesh, the US, Belgium, and the joint office that we had with MRC and MTC in Jeddah. I think it made a lot of sense because in many of these places that we closed, we were facing intense competition with our competitor from Indonesia. So we wanted to focus our resources in regions that we think there was potential growth for us. Reducing our international offices also means reducing our cost, which is a focus at MPOC, as we are aware that we need to put the cess money contributed by the industry to better or good use. So we remain committed to addressing the challenges our industry faces, such as perception issues, non-tariff barriers, and other obstacles that restrict our market access. Now, the topic that we all have been talking about for some time, I would say it's been 2 years since Malaysia has been discussing about this one main topic, that is the European Union deforestation regulation that all of you are very much aware about. We at MPOC have been actively collaborating with stakeholders to mitigate the EUDR's impact on the Malaysian palm oil sector, particularly our smallholders. Now, it's interesting, Global Data's research points out that there could be a USD 1.5 billion cost to palm oil producers if EUDR is implemented. The EUDR is a non-tariff barrier imposed by the EU. It discriminates against our 4 major commodities, that is palm oil, rubber, timber, and cocoa, by restricting open market access. The regulation's stringent requirements on traceability and geolocation would impose, I'm not using the word could, it is would impose additional financial and technical burden on Malaysian companies, especially smallholders, potentially excluding them from the EU supply chain. Concerns also exist regarding the EUDR's benchmarking system, which categorizes countries as low, medium, or high risk based on the deforestation rates and agricultural land expansion. We are told at the moment all countries are benchmarked as medium risk. However, Malaysia's revised MSPO standard with its enhanced sustainability requirements positions us well to meet EUDR demands, as this allows the palm oil supply chain in Malaysia to be both fully sustainable and traceable. And to ensure compliance with EUDR, MPOC facilitated a gap analysis of the MSPO standard. This was independently conducted by a French agronomist who is also an auditor for RSPO, and also through the European Forest Institute. And the few gaps that have been identified, I am happy to say, can be closed. So this will be the focus of the presentation today by the officer from the Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil. So given the significance of this issue, we have included the paper from MSPO to update stakeholders on Malaysia's progress in meeting the requirements of EUDR and our efforts to refine the MSPO scheme, focusing on the 4 gaps that we have identified, that is the deforestation-related definition, legality, the geolocation, and traceability, ensuring full alignment with EUDR requirements. While the EU supports national sustainability certification schemes like the MSPO, we are informed that this cannot replace the due diligence statements required by EUDR. You will still have to provide a due diligence statement. However, the data provided by MSPO can assist you in fulfilling your due diligence obligations. But I am going to reassure you that we from MPOC or even the ministry are working very hard together with MSPO to push for the acceptance or even acknowledgement of the MSPO. For information, last year the EU imported 2.7 million tons of palm oil and palm oil products from Malaysia. It was the 3rd largest export destination after India and China. Although it remains an important market for Malaysia, the EUDR is increasing the cost of doing business in Europe. So we from MPOC will continue exploring other markets that offer greater accessibility and fairness, such as India, China, ASEAN, Africa, and Middle East markets, benefiting our industry players and smallholders. Palm oil, as you know, is Malaysia's largest agribusiness sector and one of the most critical to our economy. It contributes 3% to our GDP and generates 102 billion ringgit in export value. The sector is driven by well-established industry players who manage 73% of the planted area, while 26% is cultivated by around 450,000 small farmers across the country. So in total, the Malaysian palm oil industry supports the livelihoods of approximately 1 million individuals. The global significance of this industry cannot be overstated. Last year, Malaysia exported 80% of its 18.6 million tons of palm oil, making us the world's second largest producer, contributing 23% to the global palm oil supply. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank the East Malaysian Planters Association, Empoc, for your invaluable support in making today's event possible. We appreciate the collaboration that drives our industry forward, and thank you to all our speakers who have traveled to join us here in Sabah. In closing, I'm also pleased to announce that the Malaysian Palm Oil Council will host our flagship event, that's the Malaysian Palm Oil Forum in Kuala Lumpur on October the 8th at the Shangri-La Hotel in Kuala Lumpur. And if you do need more information, please visit our website or even speak to the officers from MPOC, but we do look forward to welcoming you back again in Kuala Lumpur on the 8th of October. With that, thank you very much for accepting our invitation to join us today. We hope you will find the session informative and you will take full advantage of the opportunity to engage with our speakers. With that, thank you and have a good day.
Thank you very much, Ms. Belvinda Kaur Sron, CEO for MPOC. Now we would like to invite Mr. Salim Kadir, Director of Bursa Malaysia Derivatives, to deliver his welcoming speech. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Salim on stage.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The second time you'll be hearing another opening address after bells, but I assure you mine is slightly different to bells. So I'm pleased to extend a very warm welcome to all of you to the East Malaysia Palm Oil Forum, or EMPOF, the inaugural forum co-hosted by Bursa Malaysia Derivatives as well as the Malaysian Palm Oil Council. As the leading region for crude palm oil or CPO production in Malaysia, and forefront in sustainable palm oil initiative, Sabah holds a pivotal role in the palm oil market, setting the perfect stage for today's conversations. We are thrilled to collaborate with MPOC, combining our collective expertise and networks within the edible oil industry to present this forum. EMPOF aims to serve as a valuable capacity building platform for East Malaysia palm oil stakeholders, where you will gain insights into the practical price risk management strategies to enhance your business profitability as well as stay abreast of key industry updates. Ladies and gentlemen, the palm oil industry remains a cornerstone of the Malaysian economy, representing a significant portion of our nation's commodity exports. Despite challenges such as adhering to the European Union deforestation regulations, geopolitical tensions, and unpredictable weather conditions, the performance of the industry displayed optimism about the long-term prospect for Malaysian palm oil. Palm oil and palm oil-based products trades rebounded in the first half of 2024, with a growth of 4.1% from the negative growth recorded in the first half of the previous year. In light of that, palm oil exports are projected to remain strong in the second half of 2024, and this is supported by the higher demand from importing countries such as India and China. In the first half of 2024, the benchmark price of the Bursa Malaysia Crude Palm Oil Futures, or FCPO, settled into a stable range, reaching a high of 3,632 Malaysian ringgit per metric ton and a high of 4,443 Malaysian ringgit. The lower end of this range was influenced by a combination of factors, including a strengthening Malaysian ringgit and periods of high crude palm oil production, which put downward pressure on prices. Conversely, the higher price point reflected periods of tighter supply, potentially due to factors such as lower production and a strong export demand, which reduced inventories and supported higher prices. Palm oil prices are expected to continue rising through the second half of the year as the market is supportive due to strong demands. This rise is attributed in part to the anticipated arrival of La Nina in September or October, which threatens already strained supplies of the world's most consumed cooking oil. Meanwhile, the EU has signaled its support for Malaysia's efforts in meeting EUDR requirements through its Sustainable Certification Standard for Palm Oil MSPO. This standard includes global sustainability requirements such as traceability, deforestation-free production, legitimate land titles, and good labor practices. Malaysia remains steadfast in its commitment to attaining sustainability targets and adhering to global standards. Given changing market conditions, such as weather unpredictability and shifts in neighboring policies, palm oil players need to manage the fluctuation in palm oil prices. To leverage these circumstances, industry players can utilize exchange-traded derivatives as efficient tools to manage risk effectively and safeguard their portfolio values. Bursa Malaysia Derivatives is dedicated to collaborating with key stakeholders in developing a robust and attractive market for all its customers globally. These efforts consolidate Malaysia's position as the global hub for edible oil price discovery through our expanded range of product offerings. In October 2021, we launched the East Malaysia Crude Palm Oil Futures or FIPO contract to provide an effective instrument for physical players and participants in the East Malaysia palm oil market to manage price risk. More recently, in March of 2024, we introduced the Bursa Malaysia DCE Soybean Oil Futures or FSOI, marking the first product collaboration between a Chinese derivatives exchange and an Asian exchange outside of China. This allows for inter-commodity spread trading opportunities within a single exchange, enabling effective capital and margin efficiencies between these commonly substituted edible oils, and offering the ease to trade them on the same exchange. I'm delighted to share that our strong trading activity and growing market depth underscores the trust our clients place in Bursa Malaysia Derivatives platform, displaying our market's capability to adapt and serve as a critical hub for effective price management. The most liquid and successful crude palm oil futures in the world, FCPO, recorded a historic daily trading volume of over 141,000 contracts on the 3rd April 2024, surpassing the previous record of over 127,000 contracts on 17th of March 2020. The open interest for FCPO also reached a new high of over 299,000 contracts on 14th of March 2024, surpassing the previous high of over 288,000 contracts back 10 years ago on September 10, 2014. Subsequently, on 29th of March 2024, the daily trading volume for all derivatives products combined achieved a historical high of 178,000 contracts, overtaking the previous record of 161,000 contracts, which was set in March of 2020. In addition, the open interest, which is a crucial factor in evaluating market liquidity and price trajectory, hit a record of over 366,000 contracts on the 26th of March 2024. These are strong testaments to Bursa Malaysia Derivatives' commitments to create opportunities and grow value for our customers in line with our mission statement. Ladies and gentlemen, in this forum, we will delve into the strategies to optimize the East Malaysian palm oil business performance, price trends, and latest industry developments that drive palm oil trade growth in the region. We have also rounded up an array of speakers to share their insights on the concepts of hedging and the palm oil outlook to help you navigate the complexities of the global market. Our heartfelt gratitude extends to the East Malaysia Planters Association, Empoc, as well as Sarawak Oil Palm Plantation Owners Association, SOPWA, and Sarawak Dayak Oil Palm Planters Association, DOPA, where we will be heading next to Kuching on Thursday, for their unwavering support to the East Malaysian palm oil industry. I encourage each of you to optimize today's forum, marked with productivity and profound impact. Your active engagement in the discussion will prove invaluable as we delve into the intricacies of the futures market. The knowledge and insights gained here will undoubtedly enhance your financial acumen and bolster your confidence in navigating this dynamic sector. With that, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Salim. We would like to request Mr. Salim to remain on stage and would like to invite Ms. Belvinder on stage for a token of appreciation to our East Malaysia Planters Association. On behalf of EMPA, or East Malaysian Planters Association, we would like to invite Mr. Muhammad Hanas bin Hakmad, which will be to collect or to receive the token of appreciation by our organizers. Okay, thank you. All right, we would also like to invite Datuk Muhammad Daud Tampokong, Chief Executive Officer for Sabah Softwoods Berhad, and also Chairman for EMPA, to come on stage along with Mr. Hanas and receive a token of appreciation by our co-organizers. For a photo session between representatives from EMPA and our co-organizers. Thank you. A round of applause once again. Thank you very much, Mr. Salim. Thank you, Ms. Belvinder. Now we move on to our first speaker, who will be presenting his views on the progress in East Malaysia palm industry, update on key sectoral aspects. The speaker who will be providing this update will be Mr. Hanas bin Hakmad, Management Committee for the East Malaysian Planters Association, EMPA. Without further delay, please join me in welcoming our first speaker, Mr. Hanas bin Hakmad. The stage is yours, sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and very good morning. Organizer, Ms. Belvinder, Chief Executive of Malaysian Palm Oil Council, MPOC, Encik Salim, Muhammad Salim, Director of Bursa Malaysia, Datuk-datuk, tuan-tuan, ladies and gentlemen, for those from Sabah, selamat datang ke negeri di bawah bayu. There's a lot of place you can visit here in Kota Kinabalu. Syok-syok semua tempatnya ni tahu. Bagus kamu melawat, kalau enggak nanti kamu rugi. Baiklah tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, allow me to present the progress of oil palm in Sabah I will update you on a few updates on the key sectoral aspect. Before that, sebelum I proceed with my presentation, please please allow me to introduce. Kasih kami iklan sekejap lah kan. Because since we are the co-organizer, I think it's a proper for us to introduce ourselves. Sebab di Sabah ini, kami cakap, kalau kau tak kenal saya, nanti kau tak syok sama saya. Jadi saya kasih kamu syok dulu lah ya. For Empoc, actually, our mission, the S Malaysian Plantation Association mission, is to unite and amplify the voice of plantation in Sabah. Actually, Empoc is representing, basically most of the members is a small holding company. Then Empoc is one of the oldest association in Sabah, established 135 years back in October 26, 1889. Tua sudah ni Empoc. Actually, initially it's established to represent North Borneo by tobacco planters. Throughout the years, until then, 1973, the East Malaysian Plantation Association, including Sarawak at that time, is called the Association Empoc. But I think way back in 2002 or 2003, since oil palm industry is start developing in Sarawak, Empoc is actually, Sarawak is opted out from Empoc and then they form Sapua. That's Sapua ni actually is the brothers to Empoc. Ladies and gentlemen, so as a association, oldest association in Sabah especially, I think our membership is basically majority from GLC Sabah base, which is Sabah Sofood, my company, Sawit Kinabalu, SLDB, Sabah Land Development, and others. So I understand majority Malaya Tanah Melayu company which operated in Sabah, actually the member of MPOA. So since the only association that represent planters as ambassador to the state government, kami ingin menjemput, we invite all those company from Peninsula to join force with Empoc. We don't mind. If you are MPOA member, we don't mind to be a second wife anyway. Please come and join us together. At least the only association can provide channel to the state government is Empoc. Then, okay, itu iklan, sudah siap iklannya. Then we start with the business. Actually, I a little bit nervous this morning because first, I'm a first person, so I'll become a benchmark for this morning and today. Secondly, in front of me is actually my chairman, Empoc chairman. So allow me to welcome Datuk Daud, Empoc, a new elected Empoc chairman for this term. Izinkan saya Datuk untuk present. Pada masa yang sama dia pun I punya boss. So ada susah sikit. Baiklah. When this topic given to me by MPOC to present the key sectorial updates, so I terpikir-pikir, actually if I give you an update on key sectorial sampai pagi until tomorrow, this one never complete, because if you know that for the last 5 years, oil palm industry especially Ada banyak challenge yang lama, is a lot of old challenge, and actually for the last 2-3 years is a lot of a new challenge. Tapi I think the industry in Sabah especially is getting matured. We're going to face the challenge, and then we face the challenge to the opportunity. So as what Ms. Bebinders mentioned this morning, Sabah actually used to be the highest state. Now Sabah is second largest from after Sarawak. We are representing 27% of total 5.6 million hectares developed in oil palm. In Sabah, we have 1.5 million hectares of area, planted area, which is, if you see, for the last 10 years, since 2008, that area actually become increase and increase until it's come to the peak in 2018, 1.5 million hectares. I believe this is only the land. I think Sabah is mostly of the area that potential to be developed as oil palm is already there. It's going to be the area, 1.5 million hectares is going to be the fixed area in Sabah. Kecuali, I don't think so, state government will allow us to further encroach to the forest reserve area. Then in 2000, if you see in 2020 until 2023, is a little bit reduction in terms of area because of the replanting activity. For the FFB production, in 2022, Sabah produced 21.3 million ton. In 2023, we are producing about 22.3, slightly a bit from 2022. Until June this year, until July this year, Sabah produced 1.52 million ton of FFB. If you see the pattern, I think the production this year is going to be equal production in 2023, which is 22.35 million ton. This is a trend of FFB for the last, since 2008, monthly trend. Actually, the monthly trend, nothing much changed. The only things, the trend is downward. From 2008, where I think that is a time when the production in Sabah is peak. At that time, Sabah produced more than 31 million ton a year. Now, in July 2024, the production is declining down. Why? Simply because 87% out of the total hectare, 87%, Sabah have, the plantation in Sabah have about 59%, very old palms. The aging palms lah, more than 20 years. So this I call it, this old man is not sexy anymore. So that's why it's unproductive lah. Sorry to say, gentlemen, it's unproductive. So it's a time for the industry to really look into the long-range replanting program. However, the challenge is, especially for our members as a smallholders, for the last 5-6 years, this old man, even though it's not productive, but this old man become more sexy and sexy because the price of the commodity is still in a very good price. That's why some of the members is not conducting the replanting because of the price is still attractive. But for the next 5 years, I think Sabah is going to go back to its original position, whereby we can producing about 30 million ton a year, because for the last 2 years, most of the plantation in Sabah is start do a replantings, conducting their own replanting. That's why even in 2023, 40% of total replanting area in Malaysia actually is been conducted in Sabah. So this is one of, I want to share you this. This is a study that conducted by MPOB way back in 2009. At that time, you see the zone A, where the age profile below 25 years, actually in the category zone A, majority, that is the ideal age profile at that time. That's why if you see in 2000, 2008, 2009, 2010, the production in Sabah is in very peak time. That's when Sabah produced more than 30 million ton a year. But what happened, in 2023, this year, in fact, this zone, the zone B is moved to zone A. So what happened is, most of the area, planting area in Sabah, now, it's more than 15 years. In fact, some of them, the biggest chunk of this, about 275,000, is age, the age is more than 25 years. So this is serious for you all business traders, bursa. If replanting is not properly conducted in Sabah, nggak ada barang lagi kamu mau jual nih tahu. So I think industry need to really look into this, especially in Sabah. See, in 2009, whereby in 2008 especially, our yield per hectare at that time is 23 ton per hectare. But last year, in 2023, the yield is declining down until 16.4 ton per hectare. So dramatically down just because of the age profile. So if this price, I don't know. In fact, Empoc is actually educating all the members to start look into the replanting, because we cannot rely on this old man anymore. Even though it's become more sexy and sexy, but now we want the sexy young boy, which is very productive. That's why majority of our members taking up the scheme of MPOB, and then in fact, the biggest players in Sabah also start advocating their long-range replanting program. That is FAB production. How about the mill in Sabah? So, as I mentioned just now, way back in 2008, when the crop is really big, a lot of company is putting up their own mill, because at that time, the crop production is 31 million ton. We are having a mill in Sabah, 125 mills in operation until now, to cater for 34 million ton of FFB. But as you know, even last year, by end of December, the only production is about 22 million. So sekarang ni, all this time, the millers in Sabah all actually fighting each other to get the crop to be processed. Because majority of the FFB mill, CPO mill in Sabah now operating below their capacity. At least 60% of their own capacity. So this is things that we need to really look into. The production of CPO for 2023 is about 4.5 million ton, and then for PK is 980,000 tons. And then for July to date, the production of CPO is 2.3 million ton, and then the PK is almost 100,000 ton. Not only the FFB, even the OER trend also going down. From 21% way back in 2009, when the age profile is really in a very good age profile, Sabah actually is the highest, at that time is the highest OER in Malaysia. We actually recorded at 21.35 oil extraction rate per hectare. But last year, I think Peninsula or Sarawak is even better than Sabah. Our OER is only at 20.4% extraction rate. For refinery, similar to refinery, the combined capacity of facilities of refinery in Sabah is 2.6 million ton. 7.6 million ton, sorry. But currently, as you see just now, the only capacity, the only FFB now is about 4.6 million ton. So imagine, even the refinery also under capacity, whereby only about 60% capacity. In fact, I come to understand some of the refinery, they don't have the capacity until this refinery become a CPO trader. They don't process anymore because CPO trader more giving more profit than to process to become a refinery. Why actually the industry of oil palm in Sabah is very important? Kenapa penting sangat ni oil palm di Sabah? Because the whole processing in Sabah, okay, this year, last year we actually the FFB price per ton is 778 per ton, and then of course CPO price at about 3,800, and then PK price is about 2,000. See how attractive the price. That's why some of the smallholders don't want to go for replanting. In fact, in 2022, the price of FFB is reaching 1,000 per ton. Until then, the CPO is 5,000. Of course, that time is in 2003 is, I don't know, maybe the history will not repeat again. Even the PK at the price of 3,118. So that's why I think one of the mitigation is Sabah actually need to push more for expansion on downstream, because that is only the things to make. That is only the things to make the oil palm industry in Sabah more productive and more effective. Yeah. In 23, as you know, the industry is actually worth of 95 billion ringgit Malaysia, whereby in Sabah, the industry actually giving 23.1 million income for Sabah. I think this one even we can further increase if we can embrace the circular economy. That's why the industry, especially the growers in Sabah, need to take this opportunity in order for us to further improve the industry. So, what is actually the opportunities? Okay, you might ask me why I put sustainability, or rather sustainability in opportunity. Because some of the industry put like ecosystem, like environment, all this, we actually rated it as a challenge. But in Sabah, we're not putting all these environments, wildlife as a challenge. But in Sabah, actually, we take that is as opportunity, you know. As I mentioned this morning, when almost more than 47% of the replanting area in Malaysia actually happen in Sabah. So this is the best time of the players, of the industries to change on the new planting material. Because as I mentioned, 1.5 million hectares is only the land bank that we can grow in, we can put up with the plantation in Sabah. So in order for us to improve the production, it's by introducing a new planting material. This is also the best time for the estate, to have a better planning on road and path to facilitate mechanization. Berbeza dengan di Semenanjung, compared to in Peninsula or rather in Sarawak, majority land that developed to oil palm in Sabah, about 87% of them is a hilly terrain area. That's why it's quite tough, we all in Sabah, to introduce the mechanization. That's why the only way for us to embrace the mechanization in Sabah, it's to the new regime of replanting exercise. You can see a lot of new technologies, a lot of new machineries, a lot of new things being introduced for the mechanization. But the critical things that we forget to address is the land area. This is only the time for the industry to really put the infrastructure in order for us to introduce mechanization. So the other one is the challenge and the opportunity now is to implement the long-range replanting program. We need to keep up the discipline. Why? Because even though the price is very attractive, the palms is not productive anymore. MPOB and Agrobank also did some financing scheme. So that's why most of the EMPA member is actually taking up this opportunity. The only things, majority of our member actually is more than 40 acre. Majority of our member is more than 40 acre. 40 acre to 100 acre. So that's what, they are not actually entitled to this scheme. Therefore, we on the few dialogue, we want at least MPOB to really look back on that scheme, because majority of the pekebun kecil di Sabah memiliki area more than 40 acre. In terms of sustainability initiative, EMPA actually work close with MPOC and then of course MSPO to get all the members, especially the smallholders under scheme pekebun kecil, to get the MSPO certification. I think that is one of the good projects. Majority of our members now, especially those pekebun kecil, already certified under MSPO certification. I want to highlight this on the wildlife collaboration. Okay, as I mentioned just now, in Sabah, we not take the sustainability initiative as a challenge. We take the sustainability initiative as one of the potential that if you really grow, if you really embark on that, dia akan mendatangkan benefit to the industry. That's why, like big members of EMPA, like Sawit Kinabalu, Sabah Sofut Berhad, we are operating on the title land, but we actually sacrificing some of our area which we can plant, become a wildlife corridor, for instance. Sabah Sofut, like, we put aside 1,000 hectares to become a wildlife corridor. This 1,000 hectares, I think if we plant it with oil palm, we can generate at least minimum of 3 million ringgit net a year. So that kind of sustainability initiative really need to be projected by MPOC. We have to sell this idea whereby in Sabah, especially, we never take sustainability issue as a challenge. We take a sustainability in a very positive way. We take this sustainability in order for us to move together. So therefore, I like to invite MPOC and other members to really come down and look to all these projects, initiative taking by EMPA in order for us to maintain, to really look into the sustainability initiative. Our members, 25% of the total area, total producer in Malaysia, from Sabah already get their certification. You can see MSPO Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, and supply chain certification. You know, I will say majority of our members, I think almost all our members is now already certified under MSPO. I'm not going to talk a lot on this technology investment because you always get opportunity to see, to listen to this paper, to listen to other paper, you know. But the only thing is, the industry, especially our members, we encourage our members is to use the technology in order for us to get proper precision agriculture, to properly implemented mechanization, and then to manage the plantation in very effective way. This is another opportunity for the industry in Sabah, especially on biomass economy. We need to align. In Sabah, we are actually aligning our biomass policy aligned to National Biomass Action Plan 2023-2030. It's a lot of potential and utilization. Now, some of the company is actually in Sabah is going for OPT engineer lumber. Okay, we also have a biocomposite, biosugar, biocatalyst resin, you know, and then graphene from the palm PKS, and then microalgae cultivation. I think bio-CNG, Sawit actually already start embarking on bio-CNG in one of their mill. So these all the opportunity that the industry in Sabah is moving forward to add the other income of the plantation. So for the conclusion, this is a few things. The key trend to really watch, because this trend is going to have a very big impact for the industry, oil palm industry in Sabah. The other things is, we have to really look into how to manage the price of CPO price speculation, the price fluctuation through CPO futures and hedging. I think today one of the presenters is going to give you inside of it how to manage. And then the new introduction of Sabah Labor Ordinance. I think the bigger player like Sawit Kinabalu, Sabah Soput, in fact, Saim Dabi here in Sabah, don't really got true effect on this. But the most challenging is for those smallholders, because smallholders in Sabah, they are been with Sabah Labor Ordinance for so long. There's a lot of amendment that they really need to address into, like Housing Act and amenities. You know, last time kalau smallholder ni asal ada rumah cukuplah, tapi sekarang now with the new requirement, I think the players, especially the smallholders in Sabah, need to really address. The other one is with the introduction of Sabah oil palm biomass policy. Sabah ada berbeza sedikit because we have our own policy on biomass, Then, of course, the next key trend to watch is Sabah Energy Roadmap and Master Plan. Because biogas industry in Sabah really need to be in line with the road plan and master plan of energy, because majority of the industry in Sabah, their biogas plant is only to supply their own plantation. I think in future, if the industry of producing a power is more attractive, I think this is one of the the industry of in Sabah look into. The other one, the issue and challenge is plantation workers legalization turnout. As you know, post-pandemic, even during a pandemic, a lot of legalization process in Sabah is stranded. I think not only in Sabah, in Sarawak basically, and also in Peninsula. So this of legalization, so-called workers need to really need to be legalized secepat mungkin. So that's why I think Empoc work together with Smart Sabah, providing this platform for the industry player to legalize their own workers as fast as we can. The other one is pertukaran ibu kota Indonesia, ibu kota Nusantara ke Kalimantan. As you aware, and in fact you know, the last sambutan Hari Ulang Tahun Kemerdekaan Indonesia actually conducted in ibu kota Nusantara. So from our place in Kalabakan, Simanggaris, I think through land, you can reach ibu kota Nusantara within 18 hours, 18 jam. So if ibu kota Nusantara actually really move there, then I believe most of our foreign labor, especially from Indonesia, is start moving slowly there. So this is another challenge for the industry in Sabah to make sure that now we need to really look into the mechanization, because we cannot have dependent on foreign labor anymore. The last one is potential of bad weather lah. Tapi this one is actually very subjective, because you can always say La Nina, El Nino, but the production is, I think in industry, people like us is already matured enough to address this kind of situation. For that, thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hanas bin Hakmad. Once again, a round of applause to Mr. Hanas. We would like to invite Mr. Hanas to remain on stage for a token of appreciation presentation. On behalf of the organizers, we would like to invite Ms. Belvendia on stage to present the token of appreciation to one Mr. Hanas bin Hakmad from Empoc, East Malaysian Palm Oil Planters Association. Okay, a bit of photo session. Excellent. Round of applause once again, ladies and gentlemen, to Mr. Hanas. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, throughout the day we will have networking breaks as well as lunch, providing ample opportunities for networking and building connections. So make sure to take advantage of these moments to interact with your peers and industry experts. To most, the bottom line is at improving production and profitability, which is a great segue to our next topic, enhancing profitability by trading crude palm oil futures, FCPO, a practical workshop. To present the first part of this workshop, we have Ms. Chong Ting Ting, Managing Director for S01 Sendirian Berhad. Please give a warm round of applause to Ms. Chong.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Now, thanks a lot. Now, first of all, I would like to thank Bursa Malaysia Derivative and also MPOC for inviting me to speak in this event. Now, my topic for today is enhancing profitability by trading crude palm oil futures, a practical workshop. You can see the terms is workshop. Unlike usual forum, unlike usual seminar, we are going to cover a workshop. Do you know what is the meaning of workshop? Workshop meaning you are going to do more than I'm going to speak. Very different. But before you can start with your own training simulation, I'm going to start with some basic concept. Then once you understand, you'll find that futures is very simple. As usual, I need to do a disclaimer. Our topic for today is only meant for education purposes. There's no buy or sell call. Now, I'm not going to introduce about myself, but the only things that I would like to highlight is for my name. It doesn't matter how do you read it, from the front to the back or from the back to the front, it's still Ting Ting. And please do not doubt about my name. This is exactly as per my IC. I know that there's no vowel, very difficult for you to pronounce, but you can call me by TING, or you can call me by my initial TT. Now, before I start, a show of hand, how many of you are currently trading in futures? Still too early, right? Let me change my question. How many of you not yet started in futures trading? Not yet. All of you currently trading in futures? No, everyone is nodding your head. No, not yet, right? Now, let me start. Our content outline this morning, I have 3 topics to cover. The first topic is about introduction to futures, followed by 3 key things about futures, and the most important part is the trading simulation session. You're going to do the trading simulation by yourself. Your experience is how do you trade in futures. Now, first thing, before I start with our topic for today, let me introduce you these 2 main segments in hedging. I'm not going to explain about hedging because subsequently we are going to have our speaker, CY. He's going to cover in terms of hedging, but I'd just like to highlight 2 very important segments in hedging. One is your CPO, which is your physical CPO, which all of you are the master. But the second part is the CPO futures. That's the reason why I'm going to cover for this topic. Now, the importance of CPO futures, we are going to look the other way around. Why you need to understand CPO futures, this particular area? First is, some of you, when you do your CPO, pricing your CPO, physical CPO, you might find it very difficult for you to price it. But once you're involved in CPO futures, you'll find it very easy for you to price your physical CPO. So I hope that you can understand about this concept, because some of you, when you want to price your physical CPO, you might find it very difficult. So once you're in CPO futures, it will give you some indication. How do you price your physical CPO? Another part is definitely in terms of hedging, because you need hedging. When it comes to hedging, you need CPO futures to help you in your hedging and risk management. Now, the first topic, introduction to futures. Before we start with the terms futures, we need to understand what is derivative. Many people find it very difficult to understand about derivative because there are too many jargons. But trust me, at the end of this session, you would definitely find futures very simple for you to understand. So let's start with the first concept, derivative. First concept, layman perspective. How did we come into this world? Any idea? We derive from our parents, right? So our parents, they are the underlying products. Derive us, we are the derivative products. So without our parents, we are nobody. So we derive from our parents. I repeat, our parents, they are the underlying products. We are the derivative products. That's why we will inherit some of their characters. Now, I'm going to show you some of the examples about derivative. Now, these are the 4 common derivative instruments, namely futures, option, forwards, and also swap contract. But for this session, I'm going to cover only futures contract, because subsequent topic, we have different speakers covering different types of contract. Now, for you to understand what is futures, I'm not going to come from academic perspective to derive what is futures itself. But I'm going to let you see these are the 5 areas that you need to understand about futures itself, definition, your terminologies, but all the terminologies, not many. Less than 10, you need to understand. Subsequently, you find very simple for you to understand. And followed by products available, and also the underlying market. We need to know who are their parents. I believe for CPO futures, you know who is their parents. Now, the last one, another jargon, contract specification. Later, I'm going to explain to you what is contract specification. Sorry, I need to speak a bit fast because my session is very short, and I also need to cover trading simulation, but if you have any question, later you can check with me. Now, these are all the products available under Bursa Malaysia Derivative. You can see that we have nearly 20 products. And for this morning session, we are going to focus in terms of CPO futures. We still have many different CPO products available, but we are going to focus CPO futures because this is the mostly traded products in Malaysia. Now, contract specification, another term very difficult for you to understand. Am I correct? But as a layman perspective, contract specification is like your user manual. For example, today I bought this pointer. I don't know how to use it. So normally, what do? Maybe for younger generation, you will Google search, you will YouTube search. But for my generation, we flip through user manual. You all are younger, right? I'm older. So we flip through user manual, and user manual normally very thick. But for this contract specification for futures, very short only. Average half a page of A4 size. So very simple for you to go through. Before you trade any futures products, first thing, go through the contract specification. Now, let me show you where can you get the contract specification. First of all, you go through bursamalaysia.com, then you click on trade, then you click on derivative. You can take a photo for this page. Subsequently, you can go through all the contract specification for the respective products. Done? Okay. Now, this is one of the examples for FCPO contract specification. I'm just going to run through some important points, and you can see that it's very short. Now, the first thing is you need to understand the contract code is FCPO. F stands for futures. The rest is easy for you to remember. So whenever people mention about FCPO, meaning that this is the crude palm oil futures product, followed by the underlying instrument. Underlying instruments, the parents is your crude palm oil, the physical CPO that you understand. So without CPO market, there's no futures as well. Any products can be a futures contract. Even like, for example, today, if iPhone become very common, we can have an iPhone futures contract as well. Now, subsequent things that you need to understand is the contract size. Right now, per contract is representing 25 metric tons. This is already being fixed. So easy for you to understand, every contract, 25 metric tons. And the trading, you can see that the contract months available, we have many contract months available for you to trade, up to 3 years ahead. So you can even trade 2025 May contracts. So many years you can trade. You can use it for your hedging purposes. Now, the subsequent trading hours, we have 3 sessions. Even right now, we have night trading session. So morning session is from 10:30 until 12:30. Then afternoon session is 2:30 until 6 p.m. And at night, we are going to start at 9 until 11:30 p.m. So at night, you can trade futures as well. Now, the rest, I'm not going to highlight. Another last part that I'm going to highlight is the minimum price fluctuation is Ringgit Malaysia 1. Meaning you cannot trade half 50 cents, 10 cents. Every time when the market fluctuate, it will fluctuate by Ringgit Malaysia 1. Now, 3 key things about futures. Once you understand these all 3 things, you will be able to understand exactly how do you trade futures itself. So I'm going to summarize 3 important points. The first one is how to buy and sell. Common concept, buy low, sell high. Uptrend, bullish, you buy, or another terms that we are using is long. Downtrend, bearish, you short or sell. Buy low, sell high. But one thing very different for futures is we can start by selling futures. You do not need to start by buying. You do not need to borrow anything. You can start by selling if you forecast or you anticipate the market is going to drop. Now, let me show you some of the example. Very simple. If you open a futures contract by buying, subsequently, you just need to sell to close your contract. You can see the top table. Then the second row is if you start by selling. You're allowed to start by selling. If you feel or you anticipate or you forecast the current CPO price is at a higher level, you can start by selling a futures contract. Now, this diagram shows you very clearly, buy low, sell high. Like for example, if you anticipate the market is going to go higher, you buy at the lower level. When the market went up, you just close your position by selling. If you forecast the market is going to drop, the second diagram on your right-hand side, you can start by selling your futures contract. Eventually, when the market drops, you can buy back to close your futures contract. Now, one of the example, this is the actual trading platform. Can you see, very simple, normal buy and sell. If you know how to trade your stocks, or if you know how to trade any of the trading products or any investing products, you will know exactly how to trade futures. Later, you're going to experience it by yourself. So later, make sure that your heartbeat is stable, because you're going to experience by yourself the trading simulation. Then when you sell, let's say, for example, you sell one contract of FCPO at the price of 3,921. Now, this is one of the example for the profit and loss calculation. Again, buy low, sell high, or sell high, buy low, you're having a profit. Anything opposite of this direction, you're having a loss. For example, buy high, sell low, or sell low, buy high, you are going to have a loss. Now, let me show you one example. 1st of August, you sold one FCPO contract at 4,160. Subsequently, 3rd of August, you bought one FCPO contract at 4,140. Can you please help me to calculate how much is your profit or how much is your loss? I'm going to give you 10 seconds for you to calculate, and eventually I'm going to show you the answer. One tips, remember, every contract representing 25 metric tons. So whatever you calculated, you need to times with 25. Managed to get the answer? I see some starting to calculate. Managed to get the answer? Yes? Very shy, right? Normally corporate events is like this. Now, I'm going to show you exactly how do you calculate. You just take 4160 minus 4140, because you sell at the highest level, you buy at a lower level, so basically it's a profit. So you need to times with 25 metric tons, so you're having 500 of profit. So if, let's say, you calculated wrongly, don't worry, later you're going to do more trading simulation. Now, the last part that I'm going to cover is about initial margin. Initial margin is another jargon. Sometimes first time you heard about initial margin, you find it very difficult for you to understand. But margin, another layman perspective, is what we call as a deposit. Before you trade any futures contract, you just need to put a deposit. So when it comes to margin, two main part of it, but today's session, because of time limitation, I'm only going to cover initial margin. Now, you can see this list, they are all the initial margin for respective futures products. Still a long list, but I just highlighted those mostly traded by investors or the products. And you can see on the second row is the FCPO. Currently, if you want to trade one FCPO contract, you need to put in a deposit of 7,000. So any profit or loss you deduct from this deposit, eventually once you sold it, you close your contract, then the deposit will be refunded to you. Very simple concept. Now, just let me test your understanding. Let's say, for example, if you have capital of 50,000, if you're going to trade only FCPO contract, how many contracts can you trade? Can try to calculate, then I'm going to give you the answer. If you have 50,000 capital, if you're going to trade FCPO, how many contracts you can trade? Okay, I see a lot of discussion. Let me show you. You just need to take 50,000 divided by 7,000. Basically, you can trade 7 contracts. So when you put your money into your trading account, you can trade any products. You can have a combination of products as well. So I'm going to do a very quick summary, and we are going to start with our trading simulation. 2 key takeaway points. First thing, what is futures? You just need to understand these 5 areas. Subsequently, 3 key things about futures trading. First thing, you need to understand about how do you buy and sell. If you anticipate the market is going to go higher, you buy right now, you sell later. Now, second part is profit and loss. You just need to find the differences, and you times with 25 metric tons for FCPO contracts. Last one, you just need to understand, for you to trade every contract for FCPO, you just need to deposit 7,000 ringgit Malaysia. So right now, we're going to start with the trading simulation. First thing, are you all ready or not? Are you all ready? Yes or no? Everyone is smiling, right? But seeing people beside me, they not say anything, I did not say anything as well. But don't worry, we are going to start with our trading simulation. There are 2 objectives for this trading simulation session. First is you need to understand how do you buy and sell a futures contract. Relax, relax. Don't worry about making money or losing money. Just relax to participate in the session. Second part is you need to understand how to calculate your margin. Now, certain rules and regulations before you start. First thing, click only when instruction is being given. Don't click if I don't say you can click, because if not, you go too far, I'm still behind. Second part is do not refresh after the simulation start. If you accidentally click the refresh button, there's a pop-up screen asking you, are you sure you want to refresh? Make sure you don't click yes. If not, you're going to start everything again. Capital given, every one of you, you are being allocated 70,000 to start with this trading simulation account. Now, you must trade at least 2 sessions, because you are going to say that, hey, everyone is going to lose money. If I'm not going to trade, I will become the winner. Don't do that. So at least trade for 2 sessions. Subsequent, each transaction, you can do 4 things. First, you can choose to hold on to your existing contract, or you can choose not to do anything. Not every session you need to trade. This is similar to the actual market. Now, the third thing is you can decide to buy or sell your futures contract. Now, make sure when you register, please register with your own full name. Now, if you are coming with your colleague, try to do it as a group. 2 or 3 packs together, you can discuss, at least you're not alone. Or else, those sitting beside you, if you do not know who he or she is, just introduce yourself and just work together. Now, the next part is, please do not use the Wi-Fi in this hotel. Use your personal data. Now, if everyone using the Wi-Fi, it will like hackers, because all coming from the same IP address. So please use your personal mobile data. I promise you, the data required is very, very minimum. Once you register, even you do not have data, you can still finish the whole trading simulation session. So don't worry about it. Now, last part is, please take turns to register. So later, we're going to start with my right-hand side, this part. You can start with registration first. Later, after a minute, we are going to start with left-hand side, for example. Now, once you register, make sure that there's no pop-up message. If pop-up message meaning your name is similar to other people. So use your full name will be easier. Then later, this is the QR code. So some of you, did you bring along your tablet or laptop? If you did, you can use your laptop or tablet. If you do not have, you can use your mobile phone. But mobile phone more sensitive and the screen smaller. So for my right-hand side, this part, these 2 rows, you can start with the registration. The password is Bursa, case sensitive. If you're using laptop, you can type the URL at the top. If you need any help, you just need to raise your hand. Okay, those from left-hand side, you can start with your registration. Remember to use your own personal data. Any issue? You should not face with any issue because we are using the most basic trading simulation that we have. So we make sure that the session can be continued. Once you manage to scan, you just need to register with your own full name, then the password will be Busa. Then you're going to see this page. Just stop here. Don't do anything. Once you're here, please just stop here. If you need any help, you just need to raise your hand. If you have laptop or tablet, using laptop or tablet would be the best. Your screen bigger, easier for you to trade, easier for you to look at the chart, etc. But we're not going to do something very complicated. I just would like you to experience exactly how do you trade a futures contract. Done? Yes? So I assume everyone managed to access. Can I? Not yet. Okay, someone said not yet. I give you last 30 seconds. Now, this trading simulation platform imitates the actual trading platform by about 90%. So once you are able to trade in this trading simulation platform, for you to trade in the actual trading platform, you're going to see that it's quite similar. So you can see right-hand side, okay, everyone done. Middle, everyone done. We left with the left-hand side. Okay, let's proceed. If you know you finished, don't worry, our facilitators, they are going to assist you. Now, we are going to start with this train simulation. Hold on a sec. Duplicate. Okay, good. Okay, now, before you can start to trade the trading simulation platform, let me introduce the platform to you. Once you understand, later I'm going to give you sufficient time for you to try it by yourself, so don't worry about it. Now, we have 5 columns in this trading simulation. Can you see my cursor? So from left-hand part, from your left side. The first column is list of pending orders. List of pending orders meaning whatever orders that you submitted but not yet filled, not yet executed, will be remaining in this list of pending orders. The bottom column, trade records, is going to record all your transactions that is already filled, already executed. Now, towards your right-hand side, the top part, you're going to see your price quote. Today, we are going to trade FCPO November contract. And subsequently, this is your order ticket for you to submit your orders. And the bottom part is your portfolio, summary of what you have transacted, your profit and loss, your realized profit and loss, your unrealized profit and loss as well. Now, top side, can you see we have 3 buttons, 2 red color buttons, 1 white color buttons. Red color button, basically, if I do not ask you to click, please do not click. If not, you submit your results, then you need to redo again. Now, another part is the white color button. Can you see the show chart? This show chart, you can click as many times as you want. We are going to provide you with simple naked chart because today's session is not meant for trading strategies. We are going to let you understand how do you place your first futures contract only, and how do you use the platform, how do you look at your margin, how do you trade in the futures trading environment. So you can keep on clicking show chart, show quote, show chart, show quote. Now, on your right-hand side, this next button is once you're ready with all your trading orders, you already submitted all your trading orders, you're ready, then you can click on this next button. Later, I'm going to show you, don't do anything on your trading platform yet. You can click on this next button, and it is going to move day by day. So once you finish putting all your trades, then only you click on this next button. Now, I'm going to show you how do you do it, and later you can start by doing it by yourself. Last part, can you see that every account, you're going to have 70,000 to kickstart? So long as you have money, you can trade. If you trade until you do not have money, don't come and get it from me. If you're having a profit, also you cannot get it back. But at least you experience this. So every one of you, your trading account, you're going to have 70,000 to kickstart. Now, let's say, for example, if I forecast, or you all are CPO master, what is your forecast for the upcoming CPO trend? Let me know. Maybe the louder you shout, the higher or the lower the CPO is going to move. So what is your anticipation, or what is your forecast for the upcoming CPO price? Uptrend or downtrend? Sell. Or some of you saying we should sell because right now it's at the high side, right? Now, since you mentioned that you're going to sell, let me show you one contract. How do you start by selling? So first thing, if you anticipate the market is heading towards downside, so we need to start by selling. In futures, you're allowed to start by selling a futures contract. Now, let me show you how do you do that. Later, I'm going to allow you to do it by yourself. So first thing, order type, we just use a limit order. Simple, because today we are not going to go in details about order types. Just start by using a limit order. If we are a seller, we need to look at the buyer price. I repeat, if you're a seller, you need to look at the buyer price. If you are a buyer, you need to look at the seller price. Concept, basic concept. So if I'm going to sell immediately, I just need to put in 4268. I click sell. Don't do anything yet. Let me show it to you. So you just please follow my cursor. I'm going to explain to you. Can you see this net position? Net position is the number of balance of contract that you have right now. So we are going to start with 0 contract from the bottom to the top. So you're going to start with 0 contract. Subsequently, because you sold 1 contract at 4,268, you have a net short 1 contract. Just for information, you're going to see negative is common. Because if you're having a net long contract, it will be a positive. But if you're having a net short contract, it will be a negative for futures. So don't worry about it, it's common. Now, my question to you, if you're holding a short contract, meaning you anticipate the market is going to drop, let's say if the market starts to move higher, are you going to have a profit or are you going to have a loss? Loss, right? Definitely you're going to suffer a loss, right? So now, if I already finished selling everything, I'm ready, then I'm going to move to another day. But before that, let me show you one thing. Can you see that this column, initially you have 70,000 of capital in your account because you already sold one contract. So you can see the required margin will be 7,000. It will be deducted from your trading account. Any profit and loss will be deducted from this deposit, or what we call as initial margin. And once you close your position, all the balance will be refunded to you. I repeat, you can see that 7,000, one contract, because you already sold one contract. Doesn't matter you buy one contract or when you sell one contract, you are going to be deducted 7,000 as a deposit. So you can see that this is 7,000. So 70,000 minus 7,000, your balance is your surplus or margin call. Positive is your surplus. If you trade until this negative, meaning your brokers is going to chase after you for the money. So if you are having positive, this is your surplus. If you are having negative, this is your margin call. Can you see that? So if everything is ready, another last part, can you see the middle part? Middle part is right now is day 0. Can you see the day 0? So we are ready to move to day 1. Once you're ready, then you can click on this next button. I repeat, once you're ready, you can click on this next button. But if for that particular day, you do not want to do any trades, you can start directly by clicking next button. If you have no idea whether should you buy or sell, not every day we will need to trade. So if you do not know, you can directly click next. So once you click next, the market will start to move. And now, later stage, you're going to see your heartbeat will start to beat very fast because you're going to have a profit or having a loss. But that's the only way we can test whether we are still surviving or not. So it's very good. So once it's done, then you are going to see that we already moved to day 1. Can you see the middle part? From day 0, we already moved to day 1. And here, the market start to calculate your profit and loss. So we sold it at 4268. Current market is trading at 4272, meaning we suffer a loss of 4 ringgit Malaysia. But don't forget, every contract representing 25 metric tons. That's why you need to take 4 times 25, which is representing 100 of unrealized. Not realized, because you're not yet close. So just now, some of you said that you are going to initiate a short position. Don't worry. Trading until the end of the day, you're still having a profit. You can assume that. So it's a long-term thing. So trading, don't worry about daily loss or profit for long-term perspective. We are going to trade for long-term, whether we are going to suffer or we are going to make profit or not. Now, let's say, for example, right now, even I'm suffering losses, I want to close my position. I'm having a short position. How do I close my position? Buy? Very good. So let's say if I'm going to buy, I need to look at the seller price. So let's say, for example, I'm going to buy at 4273. I click buy. Don't do anything first. Let me show you some of the transaction. Later, you will have your own time to do it. Now, again, please follow my cursor. I started with 0 contract. Subsequently, I sold one contract at 4,268. I have a net short 1 contract. Net short meaning I anticipate the market is going to drop. Now, subsequently, I bought one contract at 4273. I have no position anymore. So your profit is loss, very simple. You take 4273 minus your 4268 times with 25. So you are having a realized loss of 125 ringgit Malaysia. That's it. So you say, huh, loss? Losses in trading is common, don't worry. It's part and parcel. Seriously, I've been in the industry for nearly 20 years. I can tell you, we are traders. Day in, day out, we are trading. So it's a common thing. Don't worry about it. Now, this is one part. Let me show you one example if you are going to start by buying a futures contract. If I'm very positive about upcoming CPO price, so if I anticipate the market is going to go higher, I'm going to start by buying one futures contract. Let me show it to you. Now, remember just now, I do not have any position anymore. Right now, I bought one contract at 4273. So I have a net long of one contract. So when I have a net long of one contract, meaning I anticipate the market is going to move higher. So if market is trending higher, I'm in a profit. If trending lower, I'm in a loss. Clear? So I repeat two very important points. One is, once you submit your orders, then only you click the next button. You're ready, then only you move to the next day. Then the market will start to calculate your profit and loss. And how many contracts can you trade? So long as this 70,000 you still have, you can trade. There's no limitation towards that. If you want to trade 10 contracts, you can do that. If you want to trade 5 contracts, very conservative, you can do that as well. So right now, I'm going to give you 5 minutes for you to reach day 3. Don't do all the way. You just need to reach day 3. Can you see here, day 3? You stop at number 3 here. One is reach day 3, just stop there. You do not need to discuss with your friends whether you need to buy or sell. It's your own decision. Just experience it by yourself, whether you want to buy or whether you want to sell. Once you reach day 3, you do not need to close your position. If you still want to hold on to your position, you can hold on. Because let me explain one thing. Futures contract, you can hold it as short as you want. You can hold it as long as you want. Meaning, if I bought it right now, next minute I want to sell it, I can do that. If I bought it today, I want to sell it next week, I can do that. If I bought it today, I want to sell it next month, I can do that. So don't worry about the holding period. So right now, I'm going to give you a very quick 5 minutes. You just need to reach day 3. Meaning here, once you see day 3, just stop there. Any question? You can raise your hand. We are going to assist you. Yes, you can start right now. Just reach day 3. Your own call. Buy or sell is your own call. Those using mobile phone, be careful because your screen will be a bit sensitive. Sometimes easily for you to slide it and become a refresh. Remember, if you are going to buy, look at your seller price, then your orders will be transacted immediately. If you want to sell, you can look at your buyer price. If you want to buy, look at your seller price to get the orders transacted immediately. Else, your orders will be pending queue or queuing. So very much different. If you need help, just raise your hand. I'm going to assist you, or we have facilitators here. You click next. Okay, yes. When you click next button, it's representing you are moving to a new day. Because right now, I cannot move one day ahead for you, right? So you are ready with your orders, then you click next button, then you will move to the next day. Then you can see the market start to move. Clear?
No need to cancel, just click next.
No,
Click next.
just click next. Will do. You want to hold for 4 days, 5 days, your contract is okay. You don't need to close on daily basis. So if you want to hold your position, you just need to click next, let the orders continue. Look at the net position. Net position is 0, then you have no position. Correct. So you are having a realized profit of 150. Correct. So you can start with a new contract based on your anticipation of the market. Reach day 3. Yes, okay. Now, everyone stop first. Let me explain to you. I highlight some of the important points which just now some of you might be hesitating, that I will allow you to continue to do it by yourself. Now, first thing, I repeat, once you submitted your orders, then only you click this next button. So you're going to see that you're going to move from one day to another day, an assumption. And you're going to see the market is going to move, and they will start to calculate your unrealized profit or loss. If for that particular day you do not want to do anything, you do not need to submit your orders. You just click next. Keep on clicking next. But if you want to submit or close your position, you can close it. Clear? Now, another thing, I repeat, if you want to buy, you need to look at the seller price. You must key in the seller price. If not, your orders will be queuing, not yet executed. If you are a seller, you need to look at the buyer price. Else, you're going to see that your first column, list of pending orders, there are many orders there, meaning your orders not yet filled, not yet executed. So don't leave it there. Clear? So today we do not have time to explain about different order types, but the simplest one is for you to understand how do you buy, how do you sell, how the margin works. That's it. Okay? Now I'm going to give you last 5 minutes for you to reach day 6. Once you reach here, day 6, just stop there. I just want to remind you one thing, forget about the profit and loss. Some of you very sad when you see that you are having a loss, but forget about it. Just focus whether you understand how do you buy, how do you sell, how do you calculate your margin will do. Any question, you can raise your hand. I'm going to come to you. I'm going to assist you. I saw many having a lot of profit.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, me too.
So if I choose to sell 2 contracts also, then I just buy 2 more.
If you want to close your position, you're saying that you want to close partial position.
Yeah, partial position.
So you sell 2 contracts.
Yeah.
So here you put 2,
Yeah, and
then
then sell
you
to the
click
buying
sell.
price. Yeah,
Selling you need to look at this price.
buying price. Yeah.
Yes. So you can put 2 here, and put 276, then you click sell. Some very advanced asking, can I sell partially or buy partially? You can do that. Meaning if you bought 5, subsequently you want to close 2 contract, you can close the 2 contract. Remaining 3 contract, you can close it separately. Some very innovative, using the paper to draw the line for your chart. Very interesting.
3 days, 3 days only.
Right now, 6. You can continue to trade until day 6. Last 30 seconds for you to reach day 6. Just stop at day 6. Okay, doesn't matter whether you reach day 6 or not, just stop where you are. Now repeat, it doesn't matter you reach day 6 or not, just stop where you are. Don't worry about it. Now can you see on your left side, top left, there's a submit result button. Just click on the submit results. Doesn't matter positive or negative, it is not important. Now once you see the submit, just click on the submit button. Then you're going to see that the result submitted successfully. Don't worry, just submit your result. Top left-hand side, there's a submit result button. Click on the submit result button, and you're going to see your name here. You just click submit directly. Then you are where you are right now. I can see many people very excited. Some making a lot of profit. But if you're suffering losses, you are normal. I repeat, in this class, for this particular session, if you suffer losses, you are normal. If you're having a profit, you're a bit abnormal. Because we are in a learning stage. We don't expect you to have profit. But since you're having a profit, then well done. But if you're suffering losses, don't worry, you are normal. Now let me continue. I'm not going to do any simulation debrief because basically today's session is for you to kickstart. Now, do you notice that futures, unlike what you think that difficult, through trading simulation, you'll notice that it's not difficult. For you to submit your first contract is very simple. So don't worry about futures. Later, I'll let you know why it's important for you to start with your first futures contract. Now, the next part, because of time limitation, today we are not going to cover everything. We can't do that. For detail, upcoming Bursa Malaysia, they have a details workshop called Let's Learn Futures Online Workshop, a full-day workshop, morning session 3 hours, afternoon session 3 hours. Is an online workshop. So you can join from any parts in Malaysia. So we are going to have upcoming session on 21st of September, English session. The first workshop, morning session, will be the complete guide for beginners to futures trading and trading simulation. Workshop 2 is how to create an effective futures trading plan and trading simulation. So for those who would like to join, you can take a photo. Later, you can scan the QR code to register. Now, every session, we open up to 150 online registration, but on the day itself, we only allow 50 online attendees. So register as soon as possible and go and learn as much as you can when it comes to futures. Now, I just want to highlight one point very important. Can you see this CPO price volatility? This is not CPO price chart. This is the CPO price volatility chart. And do you know that in 2020 to 2022, during this high volatility period, many corporations, many institutional clients will search for hedging consultant. If you are going to start at this point, it is a bit too late. So if your company not yet start with hedging, start right now. Just start it right now. But if you find it very difficult for you to go through the whole process of hedging activities, at least, start with CPO futures. I repeat, if your company not yet start with hedging, you not yet start with your risk management, not yet start with your hedging, minimum, please start today with your CPO futures. There are 2 methods for you to start. First, you can open your own futures trading account with any of the brokers. You can scan this QR code provided by Bursa Malaysia, then you can select the brokers that you would like to open your futures trading account. You do not need to open your futures trading account under your company. You can start with your own capacity. I repeat, it's very important for you to understand futures starting today. If you not yet start with your hedging, but minimum, start with futures contract. So first method, the more direct method, is you start with your futures trading account. Understand? And when you start with your futures trading account, you will be able to feel, or you will have some sense about how the market is going to move in terms of CPO. Now, second method, if you do not want to start with a futures trading account, you can start with a demo account as well. This platform is provided by Bursa Malaysia Derivative as well. You can scan the QR code or else you can access to bursamarketplace.com/mkt/DTS. You can go and start with a demo account. But the only limitation for this is it's only valid for 30 days. But all the trading, the platform for this demo account is real time. It's based on the actual market, so you can trade from Monday to Friday. So minimum, start with these two. So you can take a photo, later you can go and QR code to register it, or open your futures trading account with your respective brokers, or else you can start to open a demo account with Bursa Malaysia Derivative. So this comes to the end of my session. Later, because of time, we are running out of time. If you have any question, you can meet me throughout the day and you can check with me. So I'm going to end my session for this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chong, for that wonderful lesson. I hope we all took some positive side from Ms. Chong moments ago. Apologies. All right. So once again, I would like to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you to East Malaysia Palm Oil Forum 2024. Let us come together, learn from each other, and forge new paths towards a sustainable, prosperous future for the palm oil industry. Up next, we have Mr. C.Y. So, or Mr. So Chuan Yin, lead hedging consultant and trainer for Excellence Sdn Bhd, who will be providing the second part of today's workshop, especially in safeguarding against market volatility and optimizing your palm oil business performance. Mr. C.Y. So, if you would please, we would like to invite you on stage.
Hi, good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing? Good? Now, of course, as you know, that the palm oil industry is no stranger to market volatility, right? And market volatility is one major thing that impacts your bottom line, whether is it your revenue, your costs, and ultimately your profit margin. So it is important for us to manage this price risk. Now the question to you is that how are you going to manage commodity price risk effectively? So which is what I'm going to share with you today. What are the things that you can do, several tips and strategies you can do to safeguard against market volatility and optimize your business performance. So let's get started. A quick standard disclaimer whereby today's session, it's more on educational purposes only, and there is no specific advice on buying or selling the futures contract. My name is So Chun Yen. You can call me by my initial as CY. I am a risk management and hedging consultant. I've helped businesses to navigate through the challenges of market volatility, helping them to do hedging, managing their risk through strategic risk management and hedging strategies. So today I will be covering 4 key topics. I will introduce what is commodity price risk and its impact on businesses. I will also share with you what you can do using futures contract, how you can use futures contract as an effective tool to manage your risk. I will share some of the strategies, hedging strategies using futures contract. And lastly, we are going to go through a quick case study on companies that uses hedging in worldwide industry. Now, before we begin, let me share with you some of the few commodities, popular commodity products in the world. Now, firstly, cocoa. Cocoa is one of the widely used commodities. As you can see, starting last year and especially this year onwards, there is a cocoa crisis whereby there is shortage of supply due to chronic underinvestment of cocoa farms. So you can see cocoa price has moved from $3,000 up to as high as $11,500. And currently, cocoa is trading at $7,000 US dollar. Another commodity which is very popular for food and beverage, one of the popular beverages, I believe many of you are coffee lovers, right? So coffee beans has been fluctuating quite drastically, especially for these few years, and it has moved up as high as $240. So traditionally, historically, it has been trading around $660 only, and it has moved as high as $240. So you may be expecting your coffee price, one day you go to Starbucks or Coffee Beans, your coffee price might be a little bit expensive. Orange juice, which is one of the popular product whereby orange juice is used to extract vitamins and minerals from orange juice. So again, you can see orange juice has been very volatile this year due to supply shortages and also the fruit and plant disease in orange producing countries. It has moved up from $160 to as high as $495. So you can see all of these commodities has been, it's a challenging time. So the question is back to you in your crude palm oil. Now, why do I share with you cocoa, coffee, and orange juice is that I want you to expand your horizon about the commodity market so that you understand what is the dynamic in the commodity market looks like and why is it important for you to manage the commodity price risk. Now, of course, when it comes to risk management, it's, I believe a lot of companies do manage risk in many areas. So you manage your operational risk, for example, like your day-to-day business operations in your plantation, in your engineering. You manage your risk in your human resources on recruitment, succession planning. You manage risk on technology, for example, your IT department managing or even enhancing cyber security to manage technology risk. Environmental, which is a very popular topic this year, right, where you are preparing yourself to comply with the EU DR requirements. And lastly, there is one area that I believe a lot of companies overlook this area, which is the commodity price risk. Now, if I were to ask you this question, which among these factors directly impact your revenue, your cost, and your profit margin? I believe immediately you can highlight out which factors, right? Now, the second question for you is that how do you manage your commodity price risk? Are you actively managing this risk or are you passively managing your price risk? Or maybe you're just very reactive. Whatever the price, market price it is, you just give and take, correct? So which is why commodity price is a very significant factor for you to manage. So today I'm going to share with you what you can do to manage this price risk. So simply speaking, commodity price risk is about the potential losses that can cause you in terms of whether is it your revenue or your purchase costs. So it ultimately affects your bottom line. So how do you manage this price risk is that, when we mention about risk, it all boils down into these 4 key factors, which is what we call as the VUCA. Volatile market prices, uncertainty about the future, complexity about, there are so many factors that affect your palm oil price movements and also the oilseed market, and ambiguity about, the changing conditions in the market. So you need to be able to equip yourself to manage all of this risk. So this risk, it's important for you to manage. Later on, I'm going to share with you what you can do to manage price risk. And of course, with risk, it comes with what? Opportunity. Of course, like footballs, badmintons, you need to be able to have a defensive strategy first, right? You do not want to let others score so that you are able, to win the game. So same thing goes with the commodity market as well. Firstly, in order to capitalize the opportunities that is available in the market, first you need to be able to manage the risk first. And then we only talk about opportunities. Now back to the foundation of your income statement. Commodity price, it all goes down to this. What you can do to manage your bottom line, which is your gross profit. Now very simple, we want to boil it as essence as possible. So it all boils down to this factor. It depends on whether you are a buyer or a seller of a commodity. It all goes back to price and quantity. Now it depends on if you are a seller, you are concerned about your revenue. Am I right? And if you are a buyer, you are concerned about your cost. You want to keep your cost as low as possible so that you have a pretty good margin. Now today we will just talk about managing price risk alone. So how do you manage your commodity price risk is that you can do it through hedging. So what is hedging? Now, just now I see a lot of people does not raise hand whether you do trade futures contract, right? But it is important for you to understand hedging so that you will be able to see what is the value of the futures market that is available to provide you so that you are able to manage the price risk in your company and also helping you to secure your profit margin. When you think about hedging, you can always think about this, the hedgehog. Now, of course, there are differences between hedgehog and a porcupine, right? Hedgehog is a smaller size, as big as your palm. The porcupine would be a bigger size. So when you think about hedging, think about hedgehog. And you can see on the body itself, it has a lot of thorns, which is what we call as the quills. So whenever a hedgehog encounter danger or external threats, what will it do? It will curl up into a ball, protecting itself from danger or threats. So when you think about hedging, think about this hedgehog. So same thing goes with your company. What are the things that you do in your business to help you to protect your business performance, which is hedging? Hedging in our daily life is just like an insurance protection policy. So how many of you like to buy insurance? I believe none of us would want to spend extra money for insurance, right? But it is very, very necessary because we do not want unfortunate things to happen to us. We want to protect our assets, we want to protect our life, our house, our car, so that whenever unfortunate events happen, we do not have damages or loss in value. At least it protects our money. So same thing goes back to hedging, is that hedging is about protecting your bottom line. Whether it protects your revenue, your purchase costs, and ultimately you will be enjoying the benefits of hedging. So when we talk about hedging, there are several synonymous words that is related to hedging. And these are the words. It limits your downside risk. It protects you from price volatility. It secures you from negative price movement. It insures you against losses. You can offset your losses using hedging, and you can also locking in prices and locking in your margin in hedging using futures contract. Now, one big question, when do you need to start to manage your commodity price risk? When do you need to start to do hedging? If you're not starting right now, or at least you need to be in preparation, you need to be, equip yourself the necessary knowledge, the necessary skills to protect your business against negative price movements. Now, of course, I'm not going to go through what are the risks in the commodity markets. There are a lot of risks, but ultimately, it boils down to two simple things. Whatever risk in the market, internal risk or external risk, it all boils down to, all of these risks will affect the supply and demand imbalances in your palm oil market. And ultimately, it will translate it into your price, which is what we call as the price risk. So I believe a lot of you do manage your risk through procurement strategies. However, there are still limitations for you in managing your risk through procurement. So which is why there exists futures market for you to manage your risk even better. So let me share with you what are the things that you can do in futures market to effectively manage your risk by hedging. Now, you have seen this already, right? in futures, Malaysia derivatives futures market, we have a lot of derivative products. And in commodities hedging, the most two popular products that is used for hedging is forward contracts and futures contracts. So for forward contracts, a lot of you using it as a procurement strategies, but there are limitations. So how you can solve those limitations is that when you add futures contract as one of your price risk management strategies. And later on, I'm going to share with you what are the differences between forward and futures. So first thing, on forward contracts, it's like, dealing between both buyers and sellers between two gentlemen's agreement. So it depends a lot of the credit worthiness of the opposite party, whether is it your buyer or your seller. Some of the risks for forward contracts like counterparty risk, default risk, credit risk, you might be facing delay in payments. So forward contracts has its own risk. And this is where something interesting happens. Futures market comes in. All right? The history of futures market comes in because they want to resolve many of the risks that is in forward contract. So which is why futures market comes into the picture to mainly help you, commodity producers and commodity commercials, to manage your price risk. So in Malaysia, we have Bursa Malaysia Derivative as an intermediary to solve your problems. So you can see in futures contract, you do not need to deal with your opposite party, whether is it buyer or seller, because through a futures exchange, you deal directly with the futures exchange only. And in the exchange market, there are a lot of buyers and sellers already. You don't have to worry or bother what is the creditworthiness of your opposite party, because the futures market is a safe marketplace for you to do your price risk management and hedging. So here are the list of derivative products in Bursa Malaysia, and the derivative products that is most concerned for you are those agriculture commodities derivatives. Now let's go through with some of a few hedging strategies using futures. Now generally speaking, there are two directional hedging strategies. One is for the commodity buyers and the other one is for the commodity sellers. Let's go through for commodity buyer first. For commodity buyers, in this term is, for palm oil industry, commodity buyer would be like those refinery companies whereby you buy a CPO in the market. So as a buyer, what is your biggest concern? Price increase or price falling down? Price going up, right? As a buyer, you do not want the price to go up because you want to keep your cost as low as possible so that you have a greater margin. So because you are afraid of price going up, so what can you do is that you will be using a long hedge strategy. Now long hedge is for you to protect against rising costs. So what you will be doing in long hedge is that you will be buying futures contract in the market. Now the other party for commodities would be on the seller. As a seller, you want to keep your price as high as possible. You want to sell it as high as possible, or even better. So here, as a commodity seller, especially for those millings, you produce CPO and you want to sell it as high price as possible. So what you can do as your price risk management strategy would be, you will be using a short hedge. Short hedge means you will be primarily selling futures contract in the market to protect yourself against falling price. All right? So far can follow? If you can't follow, it's all right. I will be giving you some examples so that you will understand what is the mechanism behind hedging using futures contract. Now let's have a look at long hedge first. Now let me give you an example. Now assuming for a long hedge person, a refinery company, because they are main buyer, right? And they want to hedge 250 metric tons of CPO in 4 months' time. So they would be buying 10 futures contract. So because you are afraid price will be going up, so you buy futures contract by locking in $4,000. So 4 months later, the price goes up to 4,500 ringgit. So if you will have to buy it in your physical market, you have to pay at 4,500. Am I right? So instead of buying earlier, you have to pay for higher price. So for 250 metric tons, you have to pay another extra of 125,000 ringgit. So here to you is that there will be increasing in cost, which means your profit margin would be reduced as well, as much as this. Now, because you are doing hedging by buying futures contract, on the other hand, you have another position, which is what we call as your hedging position. Because you buy futures contract, you will be theoretically having a gain of 125,000 ringgit as well. So you will be having two positions. If you do not do any hedging, you will be only having one position in your physical market only. But because you do hedge, you have another position to offset your price risk. So you can see when both positions add up together, your net impact is actually zero. Can follow so far? So you can see through long hedge, by buying futures contract immediately, number one, you lock in your price, you lock in your profit margin as well. Now the opposite example, which is short hedge, same example, it's just the different party. This is for mailing companies. So you're afraid price to coming down. So what you do is that you lock in your price for 4 months by selling futures contract. So at price 4,000. So 4 months later, your futures contract, your CPO price comes down to 3,500. So instead of selling 4,000, in your physical trading, you will have to sell at the lower price. Am I right? So when you sell at lower price, it means you will have another loss as well. Of course, you will not be seeing this loss in your income statement. What you will be seeing in your income statement is a reduction in your revenue, which is 125,000 ringgit of lesser revenue. So because you do hedge in the futures market by taking a short position, you sell futures contract in the futures market. So you will be having 125,000 gain in your futures contract. So you have two positions. So both of these add up together, you will have zero impact. So here, are you able to see when you have futures contract as your commodity price risk management strategy, you are able to not just only lock in your price, but also helping you to protect your profit margin and your bottom line. Now, one of the frequently asked questions is, what is the right hedging strategies? So today, due to time limitation, I would just share with you two main strategies, which is long hedge and short hedge. In fact, there are still a lot of combination of strategies that you can do in your hedging. Now, a lot of companies were to ask, in fact, there is no right hedging strategy because every company, every organization is very different in terms of your business structure. Your capabilities might be different. Your hedging objectives and your business goal would be different as well. So it matters a lot because hedging, in fact, it really requires a different and most importantly, tailored and customized solutions to fit your individual organization specific requirements. So it is important before you do hedging to engage and consult with your hedging consultant first before you start your hedging. And please do not DIY your hedging strategy yet. Because why? I have clients previously, they have intention to do hedging, so they try to do it by themselves. And ultimately, instead of hedging, they speculate in the market. So they may have already incurred unnecessary losses. So it is important for you to get professional advice before you do your hedging. Now here are a few hedging objectives that you can do and achieve using the futures market. Now I'm not going to go through all of it. I'm going to go through several key benefits that you can achieve using futures contract. Now the first one, which is your locking in margin. Just now I've already shared with you buyers and sellers. You can use hedging to lock in your price by locking in your profit margin. You can buy and sell ahead in the futures market. You do not need to wait until you have sufficient cash flow to buy your CPO. You do not need to wait until you produce your CPO in order to sell the market. You can buy and sell ahead in the market to hedge against adverse price movement. Another strategy, which is another objective, which is protecting inventory. Now, I believe you might have already know, right, what is the sentiment in the oilseed market. What is, currently the oilseed market is facing quite a fierce downward price movement. So in order for you to hedge against downward price movements, in order to protect your revenue, you can use hedging to protect your inventory. Now, a lot of people think that hedging and risk management, when you do hedging, they oftentimes think of they need to do of looking at charts, looking at the market outlook to try to time and even forecast the market. And in fact, market timing is just only part and parcel of commodity price risk management. Because when it comes to hedging, we still need to look at many other factors as well. Those are the factors including your capabilities, whether you have sufficient resources. You need to train and develop your personnel to do hedging. You need to look at what is your business objective, what are your hedging objectives before you do hedging. So when it comes to hedging, you need to look at the overall factors before you do an effective commodity price risk management. So let's go through some of a few case studies on hedging. Now, the first example, McDonald's. As we know, McDonald's has a lot of products in their menu, right? And, as a restaurant, when you want to set price in your menu, you have to print your menu out, right? So imagine this. When you set price in your menu, and what changes, and the challenging thing for you is that your cost. If your costs keep fluctuating, you have to keep revising and changing your price so that you don't incur unnecessary losses when you sell your product, correct? So what McDonald's do is that before they launch their Mac Chicken Nuggets in 1983, they have an issue. Chicken price fluctuates a lot during that time. And although in the United States, back in 1980s, there are chicken futures, however, it is not so popular back then. So McDonald's still wants to manage this, rising in the chicken price. So what they do is that they engage a hedging consultant to help them manage the commodity price risk. So ultimately, the solution that McDonald's get is that they get their poultry farmer, which is the chicken farmer, to manage their cost. Because the biggest cost for producing a chicken is, you need a chicken and then your chicken feed. So the chicken farmer, they manage their costs by hedging in the commodities market, by managing their costs for corn. They hedge their corn and soybean meal in the market. So when the farmer, poultry farmer, has a fixed cost, when they have a price certainty in the cost, so they are able to provide the fixed pricing to McDonald's as well. So you can see how hedging actually adds value towards the whole supply chain for a restaurant. Another example, airline industries. I believe all of you, many of us, fly over here to KK. So airline industries, what are the biggest costs? The jet fuel, am I right? And of course, when for airlines, they have to sell their ticket in very advance, maybe 3 months, 6 months, or even 12 months in advance. So when they sell their air ticket, the sales price is already fixed. So when sales price is already fixed, you are not sure. The big question mark is what is the cost, because they haven't delivered the services yet. So one of the biggest concern for airlines is that, for example, a 12 months ticket, it is still far away. They are not sure what is their jet fuel cost. So how airlines solve this issue is that they use futures market to hedge their jet fuel price. They enter a hedge position, a long hedge position in the crude oil futures to manage their cost. So there are two successful examples for airlines industry, which is Southwest Airlines and Delta Airlines. Southwest Airlines is the world's largest low-cost carrier. As you know, a low-cost carrier, they sell their ticket very low, correct? So with being a low-cost carrier, by selling at a very low price, it also means they have to manage their cost as tightly as possible in order to make a profit. So how do they do that? Is they hedge their fuel price in the futures market. So these are the two successful examples for the airline industries. So airline industries, they will be doing a long hedge. Now the opposite party of airlines using the crude oil market is those oil producing companies, oil refinery companies like British Petroleum, Chevron, ExxonMobil. They are the ones who will be doing a short hedge. They also have to manage their commodity price risk using futures contract. Another example, Starbucks. Earlier I've shared with you, rising prices in coffee beans. Now imagine if Starbucks does not manage their costs well. Who will suffer? The company will suffer, and also for us as consumer would suffer. How many of you like to drink coffee here? Most of us, right? So it doesn't really matter whether is it Starbucks coffee or the coffee that you are having in hotel, because generally when coffee price goes up, everyone who deals with coffee would have an impact from it. So for Starbucks, how do they manage their price risk is that they take a long position, long hedge strategy, to hedge against the increasing price of coffee beans. So you can see, comparing with other competitors in the food and beverage market, especially for coffee F&B companies, imagine this. It is very important to capture market share, am I right? And in order to capture market share is that your pricing strategy has to be keeping as low as possible. So comparing with other coffee retailers, Starbucks is able to keep their costs as low as possible so that they will be having an effective pricing. So comparing with other coffee retailers who is not able to manage their costs, they have to increase their price. So when it comes to capturing market share, the lowest price would generally be a winner. So you can see Starbucks, not just only Starbucks, the most important thing that I would like to highlight is that managing commodity price risk definitely would give you a competitive advantage overall in the market. Lastly, Nestle, and as you know, Nestle has a lot of products from coffee, from cocoa drink, wheat drink, we have food, Maggi, we have milk as well. So for Nestle, their hedging would be a little bit more complicated because they have so many raw materials. But generally, Nestle also does hedge against rising price in their raw materials, mainly cocoa, milk, and other products. So Nestle also do hedging in their raw material cost. Now, question back to you is that when do you need to start hedging? A lot of palm oil companies, I understand, especially in the case of Malaysia, is that you might be afraid that hedging, due to a lot of fear, you might not have the necessary capabilities to do hedging because your other friends, your competitor is not doing it, so you may not do hedging. Sometimes you might be hearing that some of the big guys doing hedging are losing money. So which is why there are a lot of factors that causing you to be fear and stay away from hedging. But in fact, hedging is still very, very necessary. Now let me share with you some of the misconceptions about hedging. Hedging is not just only for large corporations. Any company in any size can still do hedging. Hedging, in fact, is not costly. The cost of doing hedging using futures contract is actually very minimal. And in fact, numerous studies have shown that the benefits of doing hedging, in fact, it outweighs the cost of doing hedging. Hedging, if done right, you're actually doing hedging. If you are doing it incorrectly, it becomes a speculation. So it's important for you to do your hedging and implement it correctly. Hedging is not too complex because in the palm oil industry, your product is relatively very straightforward and simple, so you don't have to worry about whether if your hedging strategies is complex or not. Not all hedging strategies are the same because I've shared with you, different companies, your business structure, your capabilities might be a little bit different, so not all hedging strategies are same. And lastly, hedging is not a one-time activity. it is an ongoing and continuous process for you to do hedging. So if you are still hesitant or if you still have doubt about hedging, very simple. Let me give you one straightforward tip. You change all of the word hedging, you substitute it with risk management. Then you will see whether does hedging still make sense to you or not. Okay? You change all the word hedging to risk management. Then you will see how does commodity price risk management be relevant to you. So lastly, before I end, I would like to highlight that several benefits that you can achieve through hedging. Now, firstly, numerous studies, numerous finance journals and articles has shown that hedging does indeed provide long-term value creation for companies. So it is actually a good thing if you take into consideration in managing your commodity price risk using futures contract. And as I've shared with you a few examples, hedging, the immediate result that you can see from hedging is through your price certainty, whether you are a buyer or a seller of commodity. If you are a buyer, you can hedge and immediately lock in your price. You will have cost protection, cost stability. If you are a seller of commodity, you're locking your sales price through hedging as well. You will have revenue stability. And this is where you will be able to enjoy a reduction in earnings volatility. You can protect yourself from margin squeeze. And the rest of it will come in naturally because once you have price certainty and fixed reduction in your earnings volatility, you will enjoy the other benefits and very naturally. And because you are doing hedging, you will be also looking at the futures market. You will be looking at the global macro factors and understand what are the global factors that is actually influencing the oilseed market, and most importantly, what is influencing the price movements of your palm oil. So you can see it also improves your decision making on whether you would want to slow down your buying or speed up your selling. So simply speaking, in conclusion, hedging, it's about risk management. It's about managing your commodity price risk through hedging. So it's all about managing your price risk, protecting your profit margin, and improving your bottom line. Now, of course, take into consideration about managing your price risk because hedging, it is actually part of risk management. So a golden rule of risk management principle is that it's better to have it and don't really need it than to urgently need it and you don't have it. Always think that risk management in hedging is just like having an insurance policy to protect your revenue, to protect your cost, and also to protect your profit margin. Last but not least, in tandem with this EMPOF, our company Excellent would like to offer a free hedging consultation. So due to time limitation, we are only able to limit to 3 companies only. Of course, we do have some simple selection and screening process. And don't worry about this. This screening process is, it doesn't really matter of your company size or first come, first serve basis. So you can actually take a picture of this QR code. You can register it right now, or you can register it later on. So I give you 15 seconds to take a picture of this. So I will be opening this registration up till the end of the day so that you can register yourself, and then our company representative will get in touch with you. So hopefully today you get one key message. Just only one message will do. Hedging is risk management. It's also acts like a insurance policy to protect your revenue, to protect your cost, and also to protect your profit margin so that you will be able to improve your business performance. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. C.Y. Saw. We would like to request you to remain on stage for the token of appreciation presentation. And further on, we would like to invite Ms. Chong earlier, who conducted our workshop part 1, to join her colleague on stage. Okay, and now we would like to invite Mr. Salim Kadir Director for Bursa Malaysia Derivatives, to come on stage to present the token of appreciation to both our speakers. Okay, another big round of applause to both our speakers from Excellence Sendirian Berhad. Thank you, Mr. Kadir, Mr. Salim. Okay, before we break for lunch, let us hear from our next speaker, Mr. Tan Jia Hong, Chartered Financial Analyst for UOB Kay Hian, as he takes us on the topic of options on crude palm oil, OCPO, an alternative hedging tool. Mr. Tan, the stage is yours.
Hi, good morning. I'm Jia Hong from UOB KN Securities Malaysia Derivative Team. Today I'll be speaking about crude palm oil option as an alternative hedging tool. Okay. First of all, what is an option contract? An option contract is a financial derivative that gives the holder the right, but not the obligation to buy or sell the underlying product at a specific predetermined price at the expiration date of the contract. So the underlying asset of an option can be a variety of assets, such as stocks, commodities, ETF, interest rates, FX, and many other, etc. So there are mainly two types of options, a call options and a put options. So similar to a futures contract, you can either buy or sell the options. And what will be the difference between buying and selling a call or a put options? So first of all, the buyer of the options, they will be paying a premium to acquire the rights, but not the obligation to exercise the options if the price conditions were met. Okay. The buyer of the call options is given the right, but not the obligation, to buy the underlying asset at the expiration date. So if, let's say, if the call options expires above the strike price, the buyer can exercise the rights to obtain the underlying asset with a long position. So usually, a buyer of the call option, they will be holding a bullish view on the market. And the next one is the buyer of the put option. So for the buyer of the put option, they will also be paying a premium to acquire the rights, but not the obligation to sell the underlying asset if the price falls below the strike price. Okay. The buyer of the put option, they will usually be holding a view that they are bearish on the market. On the opposite side will be, The opposite side will be the options seller. The option seller will collect a premium when they sell an option. So let's say for the seller of a call option, they will sell the option, collect a premium, and they will have the obligation to sell the underlying asset at expiration if the price falls above the strike price. So this means that the seller of the call option, they usually have a bearish view on the market. And lastly is the seller of the put option. So similarly, the seller of the put option, they will be collecting a premium, and then they will have the obligation to buy the put option, to buy the underlying asset at expiration date if the price falls below the strike price. So the seller of the put option, they will usually have more of a bullish view on the market. Okay. Moving on to the commonly used terminology in options trading. So there's a few main ones. The first one would be strike price. So a strike price is the price where The strike price is where the price which the underlying asset can be bought or sold when exercised during the expiration date. So for example, if you have bought a call option at 3,500 and that during expiration the price is trading at 3,700. So the call option buyer, they will be able to buy the call option at 3,500 instead of 3,700. So the second one is the option premium. So the option premium is basically the market price of the option which are bought and sold at. And the next one is at the money, or in short, we call it ATM. This is the situation where the option strike price is equal or identical to the price of the underlying asset. So let's say if the underlying asset is trading at 3,500 right now, and a 3,500 call option, we will call it to be at the money. So the next one we'll be looking at is in the money, or ITM in short. So this refers to when the underlying price of the asset is in favor of the option holder. So a call option, we'll call it to be in the money when the underlying price is higher than the strike price. So while a put option is said to be in the money when the underlying price is below of the strike price. So for example, if I have a call option at 3,500 and my underlying asset is trading at 3,700, so my call option will be in the money, whereas for my put option, similarly with a strike of 3,500, but if the underlying is trading at 3,300, then that will be in the money. And the final term that we have is out the money, which in short, we call it OTM. So this is when the underlying price is against the option holder. So a call option is out of the money when the underlying price is lower than the strike price. And a put option is out the money when the underlying price is higher than the strike price. Okay, so one way that we can think of option is as an insurance contract. So for example, the option buyer will be insured, and then the option seller will be the insurer. So let's, for example, that say we bought a car and then we want to have an insurance, a one-year insurance to insure ourselves against any potential accident or any adverse event. So we can buy a one-year car insurance, so which is similar to buying a call option or a put option. So if anything happens, so if anything happened, the seller of the insurance, they will be paying us the compensation when and if we decided to claim it from them. So for example, if nothing happened during the period, okay, the premium that we paid for the insurance, it will be burned, and then we do not claim anything from the insurance agent. So this is similar to the option expiring without any remaining value. Let's say in the case where an accident happened, and this is within the coverage, and we will be able to claim from the insurance agency to cover the losses that has been incurred to us. And the reimbursement from here is similar to getting a positive payout from a put or a call option. So let's say if I were to put the insurance example into perspective, let's say if you are a palm producer and you would like to insure yourself against a potential drop in prices. So let's say, for example, if the current price is trading at 3,500 and you could potentially buy a put option at a premium of 100 ringgit. So in the scenario where the CPO price rose to 4,000, the premium of 100 ringgit for the put option, it will be burned, but you will get to sell your physical CPO at 4,000. So your losses will just be the 100 ringgit premium that you paid for the put option, which is your insurance. And in the case if CPO prices actually drop to 3,000, you will get to exercise your put option in this case. So the profit from your put options is going to offset the lower physical selling price and increase your actual net selling price for your CPO. So, and there's also a case where if a CPO stays at 3,500, So your premium of 100 will be burned, and you just sell your physical CPO at 3,500. So going into the contract spec for BMD OCPO contract spec, OCPO contract. So the underlying instrument for OCPO is futures crude palm oil. The contract size for one FCPO contract is 25 metric tons, so it's the same as futures crude palm oil contract. The minimum price fluctuation for an option is 50 cents per metric ton, or 12.50 ringgit per contract. And the strikes that are available, they are in integral multiples of 50 ringgit per metric ton, with at least 11 strike prices, 5 in the money, 1 at the money, and 5 out of the money. But right now, the listed contract, the listed strikes, they are definitely more than 11 of these. And for the contract month, it will be the spot month, and followed by the next 9 succeeding months, and also alternate months up to 36 months ahead. So the first spot option contract will be trading the third FCPO contract. And differ from a futures contract, there will be no price limit for an option contract. The last trading day for options will be on the 10th of every month, if not the preceding business day, if the 10th is a non-business day. For all the options that are in the money for OCPO contract, at expiration, the option will be automatically exercised, which will result in a third month FCPO position, either a long or a short, depending on your option position. So, and the last one will be the speculative position limit, which is about 20,000 futures equivalent contract net long or short for any single month, 30,000 futures equivalent contract for all contract months combined. So there are a few main factors that will influence the pricing of an options. Mainly, the first one will be the underlying price, the strike price, time to expiration of the contract, implied volatility, and risk-free rate. The way that we calculate the fair value of an option is we will usually input all the variables over here, and then we will be using the black model to calculate the fair value for it. So next will be the question on why would we want to be using options instead of futures. So first of all, there's actually some advantages to it, leverage being one of them. So there's actually a potential for you to get bigger gains using smaller capitals because of the leverage effect. And the next one would be on the versatility of it. For options, we can combine different types of, let's say, a long call, short put, or whatever options that are available to create unique strategies, such as like a bull call spread, bear call spread, collar, strangle strategy. So all this strategy actually has, they cater to different risk profile. So if you have a more conservative risk profile, you can use a more conservative option combination strategy, or if you have a higher risk profile, then you can also look for one that gives you a higher risk to reward ratio. And then the next one would be option actually has a very low capital requirement. So even for exchange traded option, as compared to futures contract, the margin requirement is actually lower. And for OTC traded contract, there's actually no margin requirement. And this is also one of the product that UOB Kay Hian is offering. So, and then the last one will be the risk to reward ratio. So let's say if you are buying a call option, the potential for the upside is unlimited, but your downside is limited to the premium that you have paid. But however, options also comes with a few disadvantages because the liquidity in option market is generally lower than a futures market. So usually trades are being done via negotiated large trade, or NLT that we call it, or via the OTC market. And because of the lack of liquidity in the market, the spreads are also higher as compared to futures. And also the very last part is that for options contract, there's a time value factor where you'll be losing value to time itself. So next, we'll go into looking into the payoff diagram for a long or short position for call and put option. So starting with a call option, if you can see on the screen that the y-axis here represent the profit and losses, and the axis here is the price of the underlying asset. So what we can see here is that for a long call option, you will have limited potential losses, but you have potential unlimited gain if the price move above the break-even price. So how do we calculate the break-even price is that is by adding the premium to the strike price of our long call position. So let's say, for example, if we have a long call with a strike of 3,800, and let's say we bought the call option at a premium of 100 ringgit, our break-even price will be 3,900. So anything above 3,900 will be a profit for us. And what happened to a long call position at the expiration date? So there will be two scenarios. The first one would be, let's say, if the long call option expires out the money. So when the option expires out the money for a long call position, meaning that the underlying price settles below the strike price. So in this case, our losses will just be equal to the premium that we paid. So if we were to go back to the example earlier, our losses will just be 100 ringgit. So if the long call option expires in the money, the options holder will be able to exercise the option and receive a long position at the strike price. So assuming that if we have bought a long call option at 3,800, 100 lots of it, and if the option expires in the money, we'll be able to exercise it and buy it at 3,800. So let's say if futures crude palm oil settles at 4,000 on the 10th of October, and it will be in the money. So on the 11th of October, we will be receiving 100 lots of futures crude palm oil at 3,800, which is the strike price of the option. So on the other side will be the short call position. This will be the case where if you are an option seller. So as an option seller, your potential for profit is limited to the premium paid, but you are exposed to unlimited downside risk in this case. So for the short call option holder, your break-even price would be at the strike price plus the premium paid. So let's say if you sold a call at 3,800 at a premium of 100 ringgit, your break-even price will be 3,900. So anything above 3,900, you'll be making a loss. And similarly for a short call, so when the option expires, there will be two scenarios. One will be when it expires out the money, and the second one will be in the money. So if a short call option expires out the money, you as a seller of the call option will basically just collect the premium, and that will be your profit. And for this case where it expires in the money, the option will be exercised by the buyer, and the seller will receive a short position at the strike price. So assuming that if we've sold 100 lots of call options at 3,800, so on the 10th of October, FCPO settles at 4,000, and the buyer gets to exercise the option. So the seller would receive a short of 100 lots futures crude palm oil contract at the price of 3,800 instead of getting to sell at 4,000. So the next one is the payoff diagram for a long put option. So for a long put option holder, the holder is exposed to limited downside risk, so similar to a long call option holder, and they also have unlimited potential profit. So the difference between a long put option and a long call option is that for the long put option holder, they benefit when the price goes down. So their profit comes when the price goes below the break-even price. And the way that the break-even price here is calculated is when is at the strike price minus the premium paid. So let's say if you have bought a put option at 3,500 at also maybe 100 ringgit, so your break-even price, the price where you start making when you start making money, will be at 3,400. So what happened to a long put position after expiration? If the long put option expires out the money, the long put option holder will merely suffer losses equals to the premium paid, which is also the maximum potential losses. And if the long put holder, if the long put expires in the money, the options will be exercised, and then the buyer will receive a short position at the strike price. So this is different from the call option earlier, where you receive a long position. Here you'll be receiving a short position. So let's say, for example, if you have bought a put option at 3,800 with also 100 lots. So when CPO settles at 3,600 on the 10th of October, you'll receive 100 lots of futures crude palm oil at 3,800 on the 11th of October, which is also the next day. So lastly is the payoff diagram for a short put option holder. For a short put option holder, they are exposed to limited potential profit, but unlimited potential losses. So the break-even price for a seller of the put option will be at when the strike minus the break-even price. So also going into what happens at the expiration date of the option is that if the short put option expires out the money, the seller of the put option, they will be able to keep the premium received earlier from selling the option, and that will be their profit. And if the short put option expires out in the money, the options will be exercised, and the seller of the option this put option, they will receive a long position at the strike price. So, for example, if you have shorted 100 lots of put options at a strike of 3,800, and if the underlying asset FCPO settles at 3,600 on the 10th of October, you'll be receiving 100 lots of long futures crude palm oil contract at a strike price of 3,800 the next day. So we'll go into some practical application for how we could utilize options depending on your requirements. We'll be looking at the planter point of view and also on the refiner's point of view. So firstly, we'll set a few assumptions here for our work, for the workings of our example in the next few slides. So let's say if we are looking at the contract month for December CPO with a reference price of 3,700, implied volatility of 22%, and expiration date on the 10th of October. So for planter itself, they have a natural exposure to a long position. This means that they benefit when the price goes up. And if the planter has a known constant monthly selling volume, and if they would like to increase their net selling price, what we can do is that we can create a cover call strategy by initiating a short call position with and to combine it with our natural long underlying position. So by doing this, when we receive the premium from our short call, we will be able to increase our monthly net selling price from the call option. So the advantage of this strategy is that when the price falls, the call option will expire out of the money, and the premium received from the short call is going to help to increase the selling price of CPO in the physical market. And the disadvantage for this strategy is that there is actually a maximum ceiling price, so which it will be fixed because of the losses from the short call that will kick in to offset our natural long position. So what we'll do here is that we'll break down the cover call strategy leg by leg, starting from the natural long position of a planter. So the planter is exposed to Without any hedging, the planter is exposed to a natural long position from the fluctuation of prices. Okay. So what we can do here is that we can sell a call with a strike at 3,700 to receive a premium of 120 ringgit per metric ton. So if we combine these two legs, we'll get a cover call position which has a maximum net selling price of 3,820 and a premium received of 120. So if we were to look at the prices, the individual prices, so let's say if CPO were to settle below the strike price of 3,700, let's say at 3,200, our short call will expire worthless, so we get nothing from it. We will we'll keep the premium that we received earlier from selling the call, and thereby increasing our net selling price by 120 ringgit per metric ton, so up to 3,320. So in the scenario where, let's say if the price settles above 3,700, let's say if it goes to 4,000, we'll be selling our physical sales at 4,000, but because of our short call position, we will be losing 300 ringgit per metric ton, but we also have a premium that we have received earlier of 120. So effectively, this will cap our net selling price at 3,820 whenever the price is above 3,700. The next potential strategy that we can use for a planter is protective put. So for this strategy, it's similar to buying an insurance contract to insure yourself against a potential drop in prices. What we are doing here is that we will be buying a put to combine with our natural long underlying position. So our long put position, it will protect us against a potential fall in prices, as when the price fall, we will be able to exercise it, and then the profit from our long put position will come in to offset the lower physical selling price. So this strategy actually allows for unlimited upside, but the buyer of the put option, they will incur an option premium. But however, the losses, your potential losses on the option leg will only be limited to the premium paid on the option itself. So again, we'll be breaking down the strategy, this strategy leg by leg. So starting from a natural long position from the from the planter's point of view. So let's say if we bought a long put at a strike of 3,700 and we paid a premium of 120 ringgit per metric ton. So the exposure of both positions combined will create a protective put strategy, which we will be paying a premium of 120 with a minimum net selling price of 3,580. So going down to the prices again, let's say if today my crude palm oil prices goes down to 3,200, my long put position will be in the money, and I'll be making 500 ringgit per metric ton in my long put position. But however, I've also paid 120 earlier, so that will be taken out from the my option profit, and I'll achieve a minimum net selling price of 3,580 as compared to 3,200. So this will be the case so long that the price stays below 3,700. And if a CPO price starts to go above 3,700, which is the strike price of my put, I will be selling, my net selling price will be 120 ringgit lower due to the premium that I've paid earlier. But however, I will be able to enjoy the higher price as well, because whatever that I'm losing is just on the premium paid, but I can still sell into the physical market at a higher price. The next strategy that we'll be looking at is from the refiner's point of view. So in contrast to a planter, a refiner has a natural short position where they benefit from a lower CPO price, as this will reduce their costs. So this strategy is similar to the previous one, where the refiner will be buying an insurance through a long call position. So what happens to this is that the long call position, when CPO prices goes up, you can exercise the long call position and profit from it, so thereby offsetting your higher physical purchase price from the physical market. So this strategy also allows for unlimited upside from the protective call. And the buyer of the call option, they will incur a premium, but their risk is also limited to the premium paid for the option. So again, breaking it down leg by leg. So starting with a natural short position for the refiner, we can buy a call option as our interest in this case with a strike of 3,700 and pay a premium of 120 per metric ton. So what will happen here is that it will create a protective call strategy with a maximum net buying price of 3,820, and we will just be paying a premium of 120. So let's say if the settlement price goes down to 3,400, okay, the buyer can buy the physical needs at 3,400, and the long call position, it will expire worthless, so no P&L from the long call position. But we have paid a premium of 120 earlier, so this will increase our net buying price by 120 ringgit. So results in a higher net buying price. But let's say if price of CPO goes above 3,700, this is when the benefit of this strategy actually kicks in. So when the price goes above 3,700, we get to exercise our long call position, and we will be receiving P&L from it. So let's say if the price goes up to 4,000, you'll be buying physical at 4,000, but however, you get a profit of 300 ringgit per metric ton from the option, and you paid a premium of 120. So effectively, you are capping your net buying price at 3,820 whenever the price is above 3,700. So even if the price goes up to 4,400, you will still be buying it at your net buying price will still be effectively at 3,820. And the very last strategy that I'll be talking about here is cover put, also from the refiner's point of view. So for this strategy, it can be a good strategy for a refiner that has a constant monthly consumption, as it will also help to decrease the buying price through a combination of a short put position and the short underlying position. So the advantage of this strategy is that as the price increases, the short put option will expire worthless, and the seller of the put option can keep the premium received to offset their higher physical purchase price. However, the downside for this strategy is that there will also be a floor purchase price. So when the price of pump goes down, the losses from the put option will start to kick in, and thereby increasing your net buying price for physical purchases. So again, going to breaking it down leg by leg. So starting from the refiner's point of view, when with a naturally short position. So if we were to sell a put at with a strike of 3,700 and receive a premium of 120, what we are effectively creating here is a cover put position where our minimum net buying price would be at 3,580. What happens here is that when the price is below 3,700, let's say at 3,400, our put will be in the money, and then we will have losses of 300 ringgit here. But from the earlier premium that we received of 120, our net buying price is effectively floored at 3,580. But however, if the price goes up to 4,000, what will happen here is that our put option will expire worthless, and we will get to keep the full premium. So if it happens that in the case that the price goes above 3,700, we will always be able to reduce our net buying price by the premium that we have received earlier, which is at 120 ringgit. So this will be the end of my presentation. So hopefully this will be helpful for both the planters and the refiners if you are looking to trade into options. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tan. We would like to request you to remain on stage for the token of appreciation presentation. And of course, we would like to invite Ms. Belvender, CEO of MPOC, to come on stage to present the token of appreciation to Mr. Tan. Thank you very much. A round of applause to Mr. Tan Jia Hong of UOB Kay Hian. It is now time to recharge your batteries and indulge in the exquisite culinary experience courtesy of our hotel of choice for Empoc 2024, Hilton Kota Kinabalu. Join us at Urban Kitchen at the main lobby downstairs for a sumptuous lunch spread that promises to tantalize the taste buds and provide a moment of relaxation in the midst of our enlightening sessions. Okay, let us also enjoy the opportunity to network and savor the flavors of Hilton Kota Kinabalu's culinary expertise. We implore and request for everyone to be back at the hall at 1:50 p.m. So hopefully we'll see you back here at 1:50 p.m. Thank you.